Technology and its offspring, social media, have taken over our lives. More than 4.5 billion people every day are online. That's around 60% of the global population. It has become woven into the very fabric of our reality. This constant use of social media is not foreign. Deeply ingrained in society, it disturbs, it distracts, it derails from living a clearer life. Phones guide the way we live and approach life. Our necks grow sore checking our email, WhatsApp, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. Ding, gotta check that message. Let me see who posted what. It is a part of our daily routine. And we call it relaxing. We binge TV shows and spend countless hours scrolling through photos on Instagram. And especially now, during COVID-19, it is near impossible to step away from the screen, as school and work revolve around technology. And even more so, we crave a connection to society. Social media has become that medium. No matter where we are, we feel the need to be connected to our phones. They are with us always, an extension of the human hand, a security net. Without them, we would feel lost. So what is the problem with all of this? Or is there even a problem? Well, I think there is, but it's one that's rather difficult to see on the surface. Society's vehicle, social media, controls our identity, our ego, disconnecting us from our true selves. In order to fruitfully explore and engage with this idea, you must ask yourself two more questions. What are the conventions that shape our egos? And what is the role of social media in the construction of our egos? Despite our best thinking, we fail to see how society forges our ideas about the self, our identities, and our personalities. We tend to think that identity is objective, a constant that we were born with. And we are taught that our personality is uniquely and genuinely given to each of us. However, our environment, which molds the knowledge we receive, determines the way in which we approach or view life. Everything from where and when we were born, who our parents were, what culture we interact with, to what we watch, read, eat, learn, and our experiences shape our identities. And so because of how much the ego fluctuates according to external experiences, people develop and change their personalities depending on the state of society. Your ego is always fluctuating, adjusting itself and reconstructing itself to fit the trends of the society you interact with. Our choice of music, the way we dress, the way we talk, our political, economic, and social opinions differentiate depending on what society we interact with. But this ego that has been created, that we have mistaken as our internal self, is not a constant. It was not objectively given to you at birth. Rather, it is something fluid, an invention that constantly is remolding itself from experiences. Now that we can see how society has played a major role in forming our identities, I would like to answer the second part of my question. What is the role of social media in the construction of our egos? Phones and social media speed up this transfer of societal information and expose this idea of identity or ego onto young kids as extremely refined and enhanced versions. An example would be celebrities who are praised for their identities. We are constantly fed information by the internet and social media, helping guide us to think a certain way and act a certain way. Influencers on Instagram have millions of followers, and the concept of an influencer illustrates my point perfectly. This person uses their formulated identity, their ego mask, to influence how you dress, speak, act, and identify. However, it's this idea of having to have a certain identity, that you must conform to a forged ego, that ultimately brings out such insecurity, anxiety, and depressive emotions that we see in the youth of today. It is the root to the issue of identity crisis, and why millions, especially kids, experience this. This ego that we are living our lives through is forged by societal influence, and by the extreme transfer of these influences through social media. It is almost like a separate entity, molded by society, which continues to refashion itself according to a contact between the individual and society's imposing influence. This is ultimately one of the biggest reasons why we don't feel at ease or happy with who we are and how we are living life. That is because instead of living through our internal selves, we are living through our egos. This means that our perspective, our thought processes, and how we portray ourselves when we interact with societal activity is facilitated by our egos, not our internal selves. See, technology and social media constrains our ability to detach from these forged identities and live life from our own true selves. Social media obliges us to look at life peering through our created ego mask. And it's this ego that's forged by society and amplified by media that ultimately severs our ability to live life as our true selves, as we instead live life filtering and refining our identity to the point where they are separate entities. If we didn't feel the need to obey the ego and live our lives according to its superficialities, we could tear a hole through that mask and start to experience life truly connecting with each other and, most importantly,